Hey you, there's no time to lose. Would you like to listen to some Head Over the Footy interviews?
So Caleb, you mentioned Collingwood there. Did you guys look at them and in the off season? Obviously, they won the premiership. So, do you guys? I know that it gets said a lot, but what actually happens? Do you guys do a forensic look at what they've been up to and everything?
Not so much in the off season, but last year when we kind of come up against them, it was a really good lesson for a lot of our players. And I didn't play in the game; I was suspended, so that wasn't great. But we played them at the G, and we had a great first quarter and showed a lot of fight, and kind of we didn't finish our work off, but it was pretty close at quarter time. Came out in the second quarter, and I think they banged 10 goals on us in the second quarter, and then the third and fourth quarter, it was pretty even again. Aside from that second quarter, I think scores were pretty even, or they might have been even tilted our way. And obviously, you look at that second half and game was over, and they might have taken the foot off the gas or whatever it is. But that was a really good lesson for us in terms of the way they approach the game, and not so much the X's and O's and the way that they move the footy or the way that they defend, but their mindset of like just moving on from mistakes, and like they just were so confident in their brand of footy and the way that they play that no matter the score and no matter what's going on, they're going to ram it down your throat and play that way for the whole game. And they might have a 30-minute window where they bang on a lot of goals. They might get a 60-minute window, whatever it is, or they might have a 10-minute window and they kick 3 or 4 goals real quick, and that's enough to break a game open. And we reviewed that pretty heavily and had a look at it, and like I said, not so much from X's and O's, but like how they just continued to play their way, the way they wanted to play, and there was so much trust from each player that they knew they were going to do that, so they could read and kind of adjust their positioning off that, and that trust and kind of predictability in each other allowed them to really set the ground up really well and play the way they wanted to. And for us, that consistently enough last year, the trust probably wasn't there. And that's what we went to work on throughout the preseason. On the back of that was that mindset of like, all right, if we're setting up the ground this way and we've got roles for certain specific reasons and we don't play that way, those roles either become redundant and they're pointless of having them there, or they end up moving and kind of adjusting their position to the way we're playing, which is not what we want, and that's out of our game plan. So I've kind of gone into a little bit of detail there, but in terms of the mindset and the way they approach the game, just to trusting their brand and their football, we took a lot out of that and play a different brand of footy, different game plan, all that stuff. But in terms of the way they approach it and their confidence they have in it and ability just to stick to it, that's something we've taken out of the way they play and kind of coming up against them.
Yeah, that's a great insight there, and the fact that obviously it's a different game. I was going to ask you, do you try and copy their game style? But obviously you stick to your own. You got your own different players and different sort of attributes which you're working your game plan off. So, sounds fantastic. And we're going to move into a few other things now. We're going to talk about a whole bunch of things, Caleb. But obviously now you're a Perth boy. You're originally from Victoria, in the country down Gippsland way, but now you're a Perth boy. It's official to say that?
It is, yeah, it is. I'm locked down over there. I've bought a house and absolutely love it. So I'm contracted for another 4 years. But Chloe and I, my partner Chloe, she's a Victorian girl as well from Geelong. So she moved over about 4 years ago now, 3.5 years ago, and she's in love with it as well. The weather, the beaches, the lifestyle. It's like you're kind of in a big country town, and for me that's perfect. Don't know how you live here in Richmond, mate. I'd drive myself crazy, but I love it. I love the bit more open, bit more relaxed, and the weather is awesome. Get a nice tan.
Yeah, they were talking about. I know that the beaches are nice, and you got a nice tan there, that's for sure. But Nick Nat, he was on the front bar last Thursday, and he was talking about Perth, and he was saying that there's a new freeway going in, there's a new train line, and that's about it.
Yeah, it's not massive, mate, and it's not a heap going on. But I stick out of the kind of city, stick onto the coast down in Freo, and it's perfect for me, mate. It's got all on there. Got some nice cafes, got some nice restaurants. For a small kind of city. The food and places to go to eat and kind of cafes and stuff is top notch. So that's about my life. I'm pretty simple, mate. If I've got good food to eat and good lifestyle, I'm pretty happy. So tick the boxes on those ones in Perth.
And good coffee as well.
Good coffee,
right?
yeah. You got
really like
there's a few Ooh Coffee in North Freo. I'll give them a shout out. They're
Here
great.
we go.
And Best Wishes in Freo. They're the two my two go-tos. But also got a coffee machine at home, and I'm pretty good on the tools as a barista. So I make my own coffee a bit.
Yeah, nice. Was there? You spoke about extending at Fremantle. I'm sure there would have been a lot of Victoria clubs chasing you. And obviously you got family back here. Your brother's playing for Hawthorn. Was there a temptation to go back? And these clubs would have been, putting offers on the table for you. And I'm sure you had to think about it. What was that like?
It was a pretty easy decision, to be honest. It was I was pretty lucky to kind of be drafted by Freo, in my opinion. And since I walked in the door, I was made feel a part of the family, and was given a lot of love and made feel really welcome. So once I got to kind of that, I think it was just after my third year, and I had the option to extend. For me, it was just the length of it. I was always going to extend, and whether it was 2 or 4 years. And for me, it was just, let's get 4, and then we don't have to think about it for another 4 years, because I absolutely love it. For me, they showed a lot. They showed faith in me, drafted me with a high draft pick. They could have picked kind of a lot of different guys, and they picked me, and showed that belief. And from the start, JL showed belief in me, give me some big roles in my first year, and then as a result of that, I feel like I'm indebted to them, and I've got a lot of love for the place, and spent the last 4 years, moved away from home, grown up a lot as a person as a result of being there, and not having won a premiership as Freo, having not won a premiership before, it's a pretty special feeling to know that we could be the first. If you're the first at any club, you're kind of written in the history books for the rest of the time at that footy club, and you're pretty part of something pretty special. So we've got you might look at it as a kind of negative, or you've been starved of success, but we look at it as a real privilege to be able to be the first and give the fan base, a starved fan base, the success that they deserve, because they're as passionate as any, mate. And we need to get you over to Perth and experience it Optus Stadium on a Friday or Saturday night. It'll be absolutely rocking when we get up and going. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, superb. And obviously you mentioned the draft there. There'd be a few clubs that would be spewing now, because they picked up some other players and they've left you out. Gold Coast, Matt Rao went number 1. Noah Anderson also went to Gold Coast in 2019. Luke Jackson to Melbourne, but he's obviously with you boys now.
With us now. He saw the light, mate. He came back.
Yeah, absolutely. He's a local man as well, isn't he?
Yep.
Lockie Ash, Dylan Stevens, they went to Sydney clubs. Adelaide picked up Fisher McCasey, and Hayden Young, he obviously went to Freo. But do you remember those times, and when you're a draftee and you're yet to be picked up, there's a lot of chat with all the clubs. What was that like? And what do you make of all that, looking back on it?
Yeah, it was a very stressful time, because you look at that top 10 and there's a lot of different states in there. So you got Adelaide, you got the Sydney clubs, you got some Melbourne clubs there, and just after Freo picked, you had Melbourne and Carlton, and then you had Freo. So there's about 4 different states there that I could have gone to, but I think for me, I looked at it and I was just happy to go anywhere. Just wanted to get the draft over and done with, and then get in and get to work. But in the end, I look at it and I'm so grateful for the way it panned out, because Hayden and I have been able to come to Freo. We got opportunities early. We got given great opportunities and great belief instilled in us early and put in us, and we were able to play. And as a result of that, be able to really build something, I think, pretty special at the club. And we've got a lot of young guys that are really kind of growing together. And I feel like as individually myself anyway, I don't know about other guys, I can't speak for everyone, but I loved being able to go to somewhere that was young and you grow as a group together. And that kind of youth was driven by Andy Brayshaw when I got there, and he was 2 years older than me, and being able to kind of become really good mates with him and just follow his lead helped me get a lot of confidence that young guys, you can walk in and have a real impact straight away. And I saw what he was able to do and win AFL MVP and kind of be really up there in the Brownlow All-Australian as a really young player. And that kind of gave me confidence, like, I don't need to wait till I'm 25 to really have an impact in this league. I can kind of, there's no reason I can't do that now. And I owe a lot of that kind of confidence to him, and what he was able to do paved the way for us young guys to really have a crack and not use age as a barrier. But the draft's a stressful time, and I've had a couple of brothers go through it as well, and it's tough, especially the unknown. But it worked out pretty well for me.
Were you convinced at a few times that you would be going to a certain club? Gold Coast picked up Matt Rowell and Noah Anderson, pick 1 and 2. You're a very similar player to both of them, playing as an inside mid and outside as well. I saw some draft predictions as well. There were a few times where I remember reading that you were going to go pick 2. So were you convinced that you'd go to one of these clubs?
Yeah, it's a tough one because the draft predictions and stuff, you can drive yourself crazy looking at all those and everyone's ideas and stuff, because when it comes to the draft, like each club has their own team that are assigned to looking at each player, and each club has different opinions on each player and what they either need as a club or how they evaluate players. So you don't really know, and it's not one size fits all. Like one expert's opinion, they might watch heaps of footy and say this is my rankings. It might be completely different to the way it falls. So you never really know. And I was getting asked by every man in the dog leading up to the draft, "Oh, surely you know. Like obviously you'll know where you're going." And it's like, mate, I've got no idea. And so it didn't really know until kind of 2 days out. My manager kind of said that it's the way it's looking like it's falling. Freo were looking at taking Hayden at 7, like Hayden Young at 7, and then me at 8. And that was pretty cool having the chat with Youngie after that. Kind of called him up, and I was mates with him. Played Vic Country stuff together from 16, so that was kind of pretty cool to share it with him.
Certainly, and that would have definitely made it, a bit more smooth sailing as well, coming over with him. Yeah. Yeah,
it was. Yeah, like I'd never been to Perth. I didn't know anyone over there. I didn't know anyone at the footy club. And he was in the exact same boat. He knew no one. He never been to Perth, so we kind of moved into a host family together. Moved in with Fyfe first for 3 weeks together, and then after Christmas moved in with the host family, and it's really bounced off each other, experiencing the exact same thing, so it was pretty cool. But like I said, guys like Andy Brayshaw and Adam Chera, they were guys that we looked up to, and it was cool. Like they were only 2 years above us, but they had played 2 full years of AFL footy. They were Andy was almost in the leadership group already. They were very professional. They were wise beyond their years in terms of professionalism and the way they approach their game. So, we're very lucky to kind of learn from those young guys who are only 2 years older than us.
I know that Fyfe loves his surfing. Did he try to take you for a surf in those 5 weeks?
No surfing, and I would have said no anyway.
Okay.
Youngie would have been all for it. He loves it. But
so he didn't invite you, Fyfe? Didn't invite you for a surf?
He wasn't really surfing at that point, but he was. He'd take us down to the beach because he lived just walking distance to the beach, and he would get on his little moped that he had, little electric scooter, and he'd make us walk. So he'd be down there already in the water by the time we got there. He was already in the water and getting out, and then we're just jumping in. So, but it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. A 2-time Brownlow medalist. He just won his second Brownlow about a month or 2 before we got drafted. So being able to move in with him and kind of shadow him for a bit was pretty cool.
Did he show you the medal?
Didn't see the medal. I don't know where it's hidden, or either of them, but it wasn't out on display, so I don't know where he's hiding it.
Right. Sounds like he was walked around with a bit of a chest on him, but obviously, he didn't surf, so I can understand that. But he's been great for you guys, and obviously now to have him in the midfield as well must be nice. It
is. I've it's been really tough for him, to be honest. Like seeing him go to work and like his dedication to his craft and being the best he can be and being like is incredible, and that kind of drives us as a group, and as I know as an individual and as an athlete, seeing that I really admire that and the way he's gone about it to get back to the point he is now, where he's got real confidence in his body again. Because there's a few times that he just lost confidence in his body, and he had things popping up left, right, and centre, and it was almost like it was holes in the boat, and he was trying to cover them all, and it was just so hard for him. And I know mentally it was it would have been challenging for him, no doubt. I don't know how he kind of got through it, but for him, like, he's got such high standards of himself, and it would have been really tough. But seeing him come back now, it puts a real smile on your face, because everyone walks taller with him out there. He automatically attracts attention from the opposition in terms of around stoppage. Like, he's got such a presence, such a ability to win contests, and I know for me it makes it a lot easier, because when he goes and wins it, you just kind of go back to him and he'll break 2 or 3 tackles and find you. You just kind of got to get in his vision. So that's an easy way to get a bit of the ball. If you're not getting near it, you just go back to where Fyfe is and he'll find you. So he's someone that he's been the heart and soul kind of the footy club for 10 plus years now. So he's done pretty much everything except win a premiership. So that'd be pretty special to see him up there on the podium, I reckon, with a premiership medal, considering what he's given to the club.
Caleb, I want to ask you about, go back now to a bit of the earlier times. We went to school together, played cricket and footy together, which was great fun at Geelong Grammar. And we had some... Starring
half forward flank, you were, Hatzo, kicking a few snags.
Oh, battling, I reckon, is more the word. But we had some great times. And you described yourself as very driven and intense, sort of growing up. And I remember I think it was probably your second or third game, you copped a fine for being in a scuffle. You're very competitive, sometimes angry on the field. I remember from our cricket days, but not so much in footy. You're a bit more measured, but you still have that drive and intensity, as you mentioned. But has that changed over the years? Like, I know back then you had a bit of that in you, but have you changed your approach a little bit? Yeah,
I was actually reflecting on it the other day, and thanks for bringing up that fine. That was actually my first game, and I was it was just before half time, and I had 4 touches, and I'd had one fine. So $1,000 and 4 disposals for my first half of football in the AFL. So that was great. But you're right. I was you could say driven and intense, and I definitely was. But I could get angry, bloody angry out there, and footy and cricket. But I was reflecting on the other day, and even just like the amount of just little push and shoves I'd get in my first 2 years of AFL footy. Like, I look back and I'm like, you were a tosser. Like, I had no shame. Like, I'd grab like whoever it was. It wouldn't matter. Like, if it was like one of the like a really good player in the AFL or whatever, and I'd a few jumper punches, whatever it was, and I just had no shame. And I look back at it, and I'm like, what was I doing? But like now, you kind of look at it and. One, it's a waste of energy. You can't be stuck unless you protect, like, stand up for your teammate or something's really happened. Like, there's no point kind of doing it. And other than that, like, I feel like now I've done a lot of work on the mental side of the game over the last 12 months. That's really allowed me to kind of stay a bit more measured, a bit more composed, and calm probably isn't the right word, because you need to be on edge out there. Like, for me, like the way I play, I need to be on edge, but composed is probably a better word to kind of describe the way you want to approach the game. And you want to be on edge, but you want to not let that go over the edge, and you want to kind of tee to that line. And for me, you pick and choose what you kind of expend that energy on. And for me, it's probably changed from scuffles and stuff to how I communicate with my teammates, and how I kind of organise a team, or think about how stoppage playing out or something. Because if you're kind of caught in a scuffle, your mental energy is kind of consumed by that, and you're not able to focus on how you can actually impact the game. So it's probably changed a little bit, and probably feel like I've matured a little bit over the last couple of years. But you're right to say that there's probably a few moments, especially in school footy and cricket, that I'd like to have back. And don't pretend like you were an angel behind the stumps in cricket either. You were given just as much as I was. So
we weren't too bad.
It was a good 1-2 punch. The old first slip and keeper just absolutely baking the batsman. But they was I often say that was one of the my most enjoyable seasons of sport, school cricket in year 12. I had so much fun. We had a good team. Nearly won the flag, but not quite. That was a tough last
point.
day. Oh, you did put 2 balls on the freeway at St. Kevin's though, so that was one of the best kind of 15 minutes of batting I've seen.
Well, what about yourself? You took about 7 wickets, I reckon, that day across the 2 innings.
We ran out of overs. I bowled all my overs and a couple of missed run outs.
Yeah, drop catches.
Yeah.
We
don't need to bring it up again, mate. It still hurts. It still hurts to ticker.
Oh, that one really does hurt, but it was certainly good times. And do you miss playing? Obviously, you love your footy, but do you miss being able to play cricket and other sports? Because I'm sure you would have been so used to playing cricket, then playing footy. You're always playing games for 12 months of the year. Then you start AFL, and it's only 6 months, 7 months of the year you're playing games. So it's a bit of a change there.
It's different. Obviously, the competitive juices are still kind of flowing throughout the preseason because you're going pretty hard against just your teammates. But in terms of the actual game, cricket, I loved cricket growing up, and I definitely miss kind of that competitive side of cricket and the challenge of that. And I loved kind of all parts of it. Even like people say you hate fielding, but I love fielding. I'd sit there in short cover or slip or whatever and just kind of throw yourself around the field. Like I thought it was so much fun. But yeah, it's good. It's good chatting to a few of the boys at the club that had a similar kind of pathway. Jordan Clark was far better than I was at cricket. Like he played in Australian under 16s for cricket, and some other guys like Sam Sturt was really good at cricket. And yeah, there's a lot of guys that follow it pretty closely as well now. So I kind of live my cricket life through watching WA and Perth Scorchers and Australia now, so it's kind of good to see that. But seeing guys that we played against, like Jake Fraser McGurk, going all right, that's pretty cool to say that we kind of played against him.
Yeah.
But yeah, still love my cricket.
He didn't make any runs against us though.
No, he didn't.
He's a star though.
He is.
He's a star. And you would have been played. It wouldn't have been the only cricketer you shared the field with, because you played Vic under 12s and 15s for Victoria, didn't you?
Yep.
You would have played against
Toddy Murphy was my captain in under 15s for Vic Country, and at that point he was a medium pace bowler and number 3 batsman. So he's flipped the script there. He's now batting 10 or 11 and bowling off spin. So, but it's pretty cool. He's a ripper. Good seeing him going really well now, and I think it's pretty clear that he'll probably be the next spinner for Australia after Nathan Lyon's gone. So yeah, he'll be there for years to come. But yeah, there's a few kind of good players like Fergus O'Neill, obviously playing for Victoria now. Played a bit of cricket with and against him growing up, which was cool, and still kind of stay in touch with him every now and then, which is funny. He's a funny man, good character, Fergus. But it's kind of cool seeing those guys that play a couple of sports and kind of who you cross paths with growing up, and seeing them now at the top of their game. It's kind of cool. Comparing and understanding that we played against each other growing up.
Yeah, definitely. And you're a very good cricketer as well. Like, when did you make that decision that you wanted to pursue either sport? Was that that was obviously a bit of a decision that you had to sort of make?
You've been a bit kind to me, Hatz. I wasn't that good at cricket. I was never really had to make the decision. I think for me, like growing up, I always kind of felt like I was better football than I was cricketer, and felt like the path was kind of naturally there to, if I kind of committed to footy and kind of stayed on that path. But yeah, I was a battling medium pacer that kind of had a bit of a hack through the middle order. So I don't think I could have ever made it to the level required. But it was always good fun and really enjoyed it. But I think across kind of 15, 16, 17, like I didn't really have to make a decision. I think footy was kind of always where my path was going to be, and just really enjoyed playing cricket up until that point.
Yeah, and while we're talking about that time of our lives, and yours specifically, footy, there's a lot of guys in your situation back when you're 16, 17, you really want to play AFL. Do you remember those times? And like, you look at yourself now, how far you've come is quite amazing. But yeah, like, what was those moments like? What do you reflect on it and think, I did that really well? There were some parts I didn't.
Yeah, it's like I said, even just with the draft, like it's a pretty stressful time because for me, the age of about 6 or 7, I wanted to play AFL footy, or I wanted to be a professional athlete. Like, I just wanted to play sport, and it kind of funneled into being a AFL footballer. But I was, like I said, I was pretty driven and intense, and that probably started when I was about 12. I played schoolboy stuff when I was 12 for Victoria, and I remember we got a kind of ball handling touch manual to kind of do leading up to the National Carnival and under 12s, and I'd be doing it every single night. It was like just around the ankles, around the waist, like just little things like that I thought was so cool that, like, I'd never even thought of doing and stuff as a 12-year-old. And it was actually kind of amazing. I still do some of that stuff now when I feel like I need to do a bit of touch, but I did that all the way through, from under 12s through 15s, through 18s. Like, even at boarding school, I'd be doing kind of touch off the walls in my my kind of room and stuff like that. And that was something that I always kind of valued really highly, being a kind of one-touch kind of player. And if we're talking about footy-specific stuff, that's something that I still focus heavily on, and doing as much as I can every day, and trying to have a footy in your hands and doing that was something that really helped me, I guess, counter having not a heap of pace or not a big frame, and just understanding that if I could be clean and be a one-touch player, I can then buy myself half a second that I don't probably have with my leg speed, or something like that, that if you fumble, you don't have that half a second that you might have if you're clean. So that's something that I focused on, and that was easily controllable for me, that I could do kind of no matter what. But from a mental side of it, and the way that kind of approached those few years leading up to the draft, I was pretty intense and pretty stubborn, and just kind of wanted to get there as quick as I could to the draft and get into an AFL system. But I probably didn't kind of enjoy the journey and stuff as much, and that's something that I've kind of tried to learn to do, to celebrate the little things. And like last weekend, had a great win, you celebrate